Hi, I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I'm glad you've come to this video. We are going to work on a very simple project, a mom sign. I love you, Mom. It is near Mother's Day, so this will give you a good mom project, and if Father's Day comes up, Dad's the best, something like that. So I want to tell you how this is built first so you know what we're going to be doing. We have, obviously, I love you on a band, and then Mom is part of the rest of the material where it is cut out around the mom, up above and then down below. And we have a 1/4 inch boundary that we have left all the way around the material. So I just wanted you to know this is engineered fluorine. And this is the high quality stuff. It's like a 1/2 inch thick, it's 5 ply. If you can get hold of this stuff, it's great for making signs. Even the plastic stuff is good for that too. So I think that's about it. Let's just dive into Vectric and get this done. This works for Aspire, Pro, and Desktop. So let's see how we can whip this out in a fairly short period of time. All right, so the project, I know, is 4.5 inches wide. The flooring material is 5 inches wide, but there is tongue and groove on each side, so that has to be trimmed off. So I will take a 1/4 inch off of that. And the length of it, we're going to just start at 10 inches. And I'll say 4.5, and our depth is 0.5. We want to be on center to start with. And we're going to say okay. First thing we need to do is think about the layers we are going to need. We have I love you in the band. We have Mom. And we have the boundary. And then we have the boundary that's connected to the letters Mom, or the merged area. So that's 4 layers. So we're going to set that up right away. We're going to go up to the layer section, and we're going to create 4 layers. So one already exists, so we'll hit add new layer 3 times. And then we're going to give our layers the names. So the first thing we're going to work on is the top text. And we're going to name that Love. The next layer we're going to work on will be Mom. Second text dash Mom. The third layer we'll construct the boundary. So we're going to call that Boundary. And the fourth layer is when we will merge the Mom and the boundary, and then we'll get the toolpath. So we'll just call it Merged. And I misspelled it. So we want to change the colors of each boundary so we know what's what. On the merged, I always like to make it red. So I click the little black area right there, and that'll bring up the color window. Boundary, I always like to make it green. The second layer, I will make it blue, and the top layer I will leave as black. So we will click the top layer, make sure we're on there, because the first thing we're going to put in are our text. So the first one is going to be, we're going to select the text, and we are going to type in, I love you. And we want that text to be a different font. So we will come into font, and we will make this, I like the Allura for that. And that's what we're going to use. So it looks like that. And we're going to change the size. So when you change your text size, it's right in this area right here. We are almost as big as the material. So we're going to just take it down to 1.5. And it's still big, but that's okay. We will work at that. Now, we're going to click off of the I love you. And then we're going to switch our layer to second text, Mom. And then we're going to come back into the text field, and we're going to type in capital letters, Mom. Now that text doesn't look any good. I am going to use a font that I like called Alice. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. So it's got a soft feel to it. Both of them do, and I think they go good together. We're going to close that. Hey, I wanted to stop for a second because a lot of people ask me where you can find good fonts. And I want to tell you a really, really good resource that you are going to fall in love with. It's called dafont.com. I want to show you real quick and then we'll get back to this project. AFONT.com, or you can type it up in the search bar. And the font should come up. There it is. And this has amazing fonts. So up top you can select all kinds of fonts. So let's just pick script and find a nice, let's do handwritten script. So these are really super cool, and a lot of people make projects with these fonts. Now, I just want to let you know, you can use these fonts for free if you use it for personal use. If you plan on selling a project, then you have to buy the license for it. I don't know what the fee is for the license. Let's see. It says free for personal use. If I select the download, I don't know if it'll download that font or if it'll take me to a different screen. Let's take a look. Nope, it downloaded it right away. I think inside of that folder, we'll select that, and there are instructions of how to go about it. So there's a read before any use. Let's just take a look so I can tell you what you have to do. And it says here where you get your font, your license from, I believe, in here somewhere. Yeah, well, all the information is right there. So just remember, DaFont, where is the header? Right there, DAFONT.com. All right, let's get back to the project. We're going to center these guys up. So we're going to go into Transform Objects and the Align Selected Objects. Click that. Mom is selected, so we're going to just transform the objects. Mind you, it doesn't matter what boundary we're on right now. We're just moving things around. We're going to select I love you, and mom is now not selected, and we're going to select align to center of project again. So everything is now aligned. So we're going to close that, and now we're going to go to the boundary, and we're going to create our boundary layer. So I know that I need 1/4 of an inch at the top and 1/4 of an inch at the bottom and on the sides. So this is 4.5 inches. If I take that 1/4 and that 1/4 and subtract it from the overall length, that's going to be 4 inches, and this is 10 wide, so we'll subtract 1/2 from that, so that'll be 9.5. So we're going to go into the rectangle, and we want our rectangle to start right on center, so it is going to be selected on center here, and we have to tell it that it's going to start at 0, 0. So the X and Y need to be 0 and 0. We'll have square corners, and we're going to set our width and our height. So the height is 4 and the width is 9.5. And we'll create. So I had a number that I didn't change right here. So Control Z, and I'm going to change that X to 0. My eyes are feeling a little blurry right now, so that's why I missed it. And calculate, and there it is. Okay, so we're done with that. Now let's size up our words. Now I am on the boundary layer, but I don't really need it right now, or don't need to worry about what boundary I'm on. I'm just going to adjust size of text. So first thing we're going to do is select mom and click it again, and we're going to upsize moms. So I'm going to hold the shift button down, grab one of the outside buttons, and bring mom up until the top gets close. I'm going to be using an 1/8 inch diameter down cutting bit. So I want to make sure I have enough space for that, and I do. But mom is too wide now, so we're going to hit shift, and we're going to shrink mom down until that fits in about even there as it is there. It's a little bit wider, but that's okay. It's still going to pop. Now let's do the I love you. We're going to downsize I love you. So I clicked that. We're going to grab that inner button, hold shift down, and take mom down to a size that will fit generally in a band that we want. So we'll try that right now. So what we're going to do is create the band part of the I love you. So we are in boundary still. going to go to polyline, click it, make sure your snaps are turned on up here, and then we're going to just touch the eye, the top of the eye, and come across, and there is going to, I'm going to do that again. Now you see I got a dotted line, very light dotted line. That means if I click right now, the line will start right there and it'll be touching the eye. So I just want to move my cursor up a little bit until that line disappears. And then I'm going to click, and I'm going to come across horizontally. And I know I'm horizontal when I see a horizontal dash line continue on to the right to the end of the screen. And then I'll just come back and click right in there. So now we have that line. We'll escape that. And we're going to mirror this to the other side. So the line, the band line, upper band line is highlighted. In Transform Objects, you'll select the Mirror command. Make sure Create a Mirrored Copy is checked and hit the button Flip Horizontal. And you see it has created another band down below. So we're just going to step back, turn I Love You off for a minute, because I want to see if this is going to work, if the band feels too wide or it's out of balance. And I think that we are okay. So that's good. So we will close this. We're going to turn the I Love You back on. And let's turn Mom off for a minute and get onto the I Love You layer. So we're going to select that so it shows up here. What I see is it's a little out of balance just by default of the text. You can see that the I is up here, the L is a little longer, and the Y is very long. So if I just pick a line and draw it, it's pretty much like that. And I'd rather this be a little more balanced. In order to do that, I have to separate out the text. But the other thing I see is the I and love and you are a little tight together for the width of the band. So I'm going to select that text, and I'm just going to stretch it. So I'm going to select it again, click the button to the right, and hold the Shift button down and drag it out a bit. And that looks better. Now the Y is pretty close to these down here, but not up there. So first thing I'm going to do, how do I want to handle this? I think what I'm going to do is, here's what we'll do. We are going to weld this text. Basically, we're going to turn it from text into vectors, so we can start to manipulate things out a little bit. And look, there's another issue right here. So this is one of the little fine details you want to fix. So the first thing we're going to do is weld this, and it'll turn it into vectors. So you come over, make sure you're on the top layer of text, because when you do that, it's fundamentally changing the font to a line, and if you're on a different layer, it'll switch it to that layer. So we're going to come down into Edit Vectors or Edit Objects, and the second button down to the left is Weld. We'll select that, and you'll get a pop-up window. We're going to replace this text with vectors, so we're going to hit Replace. And so now each one of these is a vector. So you can see things are highlighted independently. So before we make any other changes, we are going to fix this little area right here. Very simple to do. It's basically an arc that goes up like that, a flowing arc. So that's all we're going to do is draw two arcs. So grab our arc command, and with our snaps turned on, we will grab somewhere right about there, and we're going to snap to that corner right up here. And we just want it to flow with the other line, so I have to turn snaps off for a moment because I'm having trouble. The cursor will snap to various different lines. So I'm just following the flow of the arc so that it flows up into this part of the L. And I think that has it. So I'm going to turn my snaps back on so I can pick another point. And we'll just pick this point right here. basically the area where it's going to flow from here to there and look natural. So we'll pick that point. And I want to be a little bit on this side of the start of the curve. Otherwise, it may cross over and I might miss it. And we're just going to go over to the other side and click that corner and create our gentle arc. And let's see how this looks when we trim things out. So now we're going to trim all the stuff out. We grab our scissors, cut, cut, and cut. And then we're going to check right in here. There is a little bit of an issue there, so I am zoomed in as far as I can get. So what I'm going to do is, with this box being checked over in the cut section, when I exit this, everything will merge as a vector. So I exit, and that is now a single vector, but it looks a little funny. So we're going to hit node, and we're going to drag that corner out just a little bit and turn that flag inward. So the flag will adjust the arc. And it still looks a little funny, so we're going to bring that up just a little bit. Okay, still looks a little funny, but this is kind of a flowing font. And I think we're going to add a little bit of a like the pen is coming around going back. That was not even in the text. Very easy to do. We're going to go to draw curve. And just pick the point where this line and that line would potentially intersect and cross. So it'd be about like that. And then we'll just start to draw. We're going to turn the snaps off again. And we're just going to make a little bit of a loop. When you draw a curve, it'll create the loops itself. And then I'm going to snap right back into there. So we had an issue there. I expected that. That's very easy to fix. We are going to click that, hit N, and we're just going to grab the flag and bring it in on both sides so it almost is a point. And now we have our flowing curve. A little bit of a bumpy spot right there. Let's see what's going on there. So, I don't think it's too small. It's not going to be noticeable, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's fix this text up. The L needs to come down. The I also needs to come down and get bigger. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take care of the L. I am going to make the L first a little bit bigger. So I'm going to select it. Grab, if I can get it. There we go. And we are going to just grab that button and draw it down a little bit. And then we're going to expand it a little bit. And it has crossed up over that line, so we'll use the cursor buttons to take it down. And that is too much. So we're going to shrink it back down. And we'll make it a little more narrow. Okay, that works. Now let's just fix up the eye. And we're just basically going to do the same thing. We're going to stretch the whole eye out, hold the shift button down, expand it a little bit, and then we'll use the cursor button to take it down to about center. And I think that looks good, except love looks like it might be able to come down a little bit. So just nudge it down to match up with the O and the U in love. It's just an optical illusion that I am seeing there. All right, a couple more changes. We're going to spread these out a little bit. So I'm going to move the I over. I'm going to move the U over. Just using the cursor buttons. And make sure my gap feels good between the two. I like that. Now I'm going to select it all and center it. Under Transform Objects, align selected objects, and click the white middle button. And that has centered up the text. So I think we're okay. It looks a little close, but I think we're going to be okay with this. Yep, okay, I'm happy with this. So I Love You is done. We'll close that. We're done with that layer. Now, we want to turn on Mom and a boundary layer, because now we are going to create our merged layers, and it's going to require us to copy these two over to the merged layer. So I select Mom and all the lines there, right click, come down to Copy to Layer, and that's going to copy to merged layer. Now we're going to, I want to show you what happened. I turned the merge layer off. There's mom in blue and the boundary lines in green. This is where colors come in really handy. I'm going to turn those two off, and I'm going to turn on the merged layer. And there is both mom and the boxes in that layer. I apologize. It has been a rather difficult couple of days, so my energy may seem a bit down. So I'm going to take a few days off from doing videos. I will take a couple days off from business, so if I don't respond to comments or emails, I do apologize, but I think I need a little bit of time for myself. I'm kind of worn out. Okay, so mom is a text right now, and we need to turn that into a vector because we need to get rid of mom out of the middle where the band is. So you select mom while you're on that layer. So we are not on the right layer. You can see it's red there. That means we are on a layer that is turned off. So we have to go to our merged layer where that's at, and then select mom. Click off of everything. I'm sorry, click off of everything. Then select mom. Come over to edit objects and select the weld button. And then replace, because we are replacing mom with vectors that spell out mom. And here's where something happens that's really cool. So we want to get rid of everything in the center there. So we're going to select the scissors, and this is my favorite thing to do. You can either go to the right or the left, hold the button down, and just drag it through. And you're just chopping everything out. I didn't clip anything. I just drug it right through it. And then we're going to clean these guys up. And this will make a nice Mother's Day present. This is also something that you can sell very simply. I think when you set it up on your router, you want to get your feed rates up on this thing to make it profitable. We'll be using an 1/8 inch down cutting bit to cut out the mom area. And we'll use the 60 degree V bit to cut I love you. If you are looking for router bits, you can always check down in the links below. I do sell router bits and router bit sets. Okay, so we are done cutting things out. So I'm closing that, and we are ready to do our work. Let's just get over the toolpaths by selecting this little blue arrow button. And we're just going to pocket mom out first. So we're going to come up to the pocket command, select that, and then we're going to highlight mom. So everything in mom is selected. We are going to go a 0.1 deep on that. We're going to use the 1/8 inch end mill, which I'm already set up for. I want to check my feeds, and I'm probably going to run this up to 50 inches per minute so I can crank these out, produce them. I am going to make a few. I've talked to a local restaurant that sells a lot of this kind of stuff, so they said bring it on down. And I'm going to go into raster mode right up here as opposed to offset. And the reason being is this flooring is a plywood. The first ply, the cover, is going left to right along the length of the board. The second ply goes up and down. So what I want my raster to do is go up and down with the grain of the wood so that I do not see the witness marks that would be caused. If I set it up to raster side to side again, across the grain, it's going to leave little lines in the wood. And it's just noticeable. It's not horrible, but you'll notice it. And then we are going to make sure that we are set up in last profile pass. This is something I've not shown you. So when you do these kind of cuts, you're in this pocketing cut. We're going to pocket out all that material at a 0.1 deep. We can come back with another tool path and then do a profile to clean it up, because we will have funny marks around here by nature of doing a raster cut. Or you can come down here to profile pass, and select it. And you can tell it on the last pass or the first pass, I want you to do a profile. And I'm going to do it on the last pass. So basically what's going to happen is after this does the raster mode, it'll come back in and it'll profile all the way around. Now I said doing the raster along with the grain, I didn't finish that up. That means I want to make sure that the raster angle or degrees is set to 90. And that will do all the rastering up and down with the grain of the underlying ply. Then we're going to select the name, and this will be Mom. And then I'm going to give it a space. I'm going to do this with a 1/8 end mill. So I'm typing just 1/8 EM. That's my code to know what the bit is. Calculate. And there are our tool paths. So you can see the raster is going back and forth, and then when it's done, the bit comes back in and it runs around the final cut. Now all these red lines, you see they're kind of going all over the place. We're going to see if we can make this a little more efficient. Because if I'm going to make a bunch of these, that's going to take time. I want this to start right here and start rastering and just work its way all the way across. So we're going to go back into that tool path and see if I've got a selection where I can change that. And I do not. I thought there might have been. Let's try selector. Nope. Okay. I'm sorry, we don't have a way to fix that. So let's just change the color first. We're going to select this radio button where it says tool path color. We'll select the color orange because that's my logo color, and we're going to preview the tool path. And there is Mom. Now you see it's a little rounded there. It looks better on the project. There. But we've got Mom. So the half of the job is done. The next is the I love you. So we want to split screen. We want to select our layers and turn I love you on, and we'll turn the other layer off. And then we're going to go into the V-groove or V-carve toolpath. And we're going to select I love you. Make sure flat depth is not checked. Select your bit, and I have a 60-degree V-bit already in here. Down here you cannot select offset and raster. That only comes into play if you are doing some clearing work. And I'll explain that in the next video. And then we're going to come down, name the toolpath. This is love. And we're going to space 60D for 60-degree V-bit. Calculate. And we'll just make the color black. So we're going to come up there while it's highlighted down here. And we're going to change that color to black and then run the toolpath. And let's take a look. Not too bad. It looks like the L is a little bit scrunched out. Looks a little tight there. So we can doctor that up a little bit. I think the L just needs to be made a little bit smaller. Maybe I can make the Y smaller. We'll just fix that real quick. So we're going to get out of that. We're going to switch back, go to 2D toolpath, and turn on our boundary. And we're going to switch to the first top text layer. And we'll select the L. Make sure nothing else is selected. Select it again, and we will simply just squeeze it up just a little bit. I'm holding shift down, so it's bringing it together. And we can do the same with the Y. So select the Y, and we'll bring that up as well. Just to take some of the, because it looked a little close, and we'll bump the Y up a little bit. Just so it's a little more balanced at top and bottom. And we'll rerun it. I could probably be a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to come back over to the tool paths. We're going to recalculate. And when that comes up, that means it's calculated. We're going to go into preview tool paths. reset preview, and then preview all toolpaths. And it did not reset it, so I'm going to do it again. I didn't hit the reset button. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Minor changes, but they make a difference. And then you'll save your toolpath, so we close that. Highlight the toolpaths, so both of them are checked. Go to save. And this is something I want to share with you. Some people have asked me, how does the machine know if it's going to stop for a router bit change? And it works like this. If you have to manually change your bit, then your post processor, what is right here, has been designed to tell Vectric that that's what's going to happen. So basically, it'll force it to write in two different codes, or two different G-code programs, one for each bit. Basically, when you run one, it'll complete the program and that program will be done. You will literally have to plug in the next G-code program and change your bit in order to run it. So I hope that made sense. And so we just hit save toolpath and we select our location. So I'll just pick anywhere and we'll just pick this location. I'm going to allow it to select the bit name by itself, or the program name. Right now it says MOM18EM. It's going to create two programs. So I just want to see where I've got this at. Documents, we're going to save. And I'm going to go to folder and documents and scroll down and see if I can find it. There it is. So we have MOM18EM, MOM18EM. There are two programs. One is for the 1/8 end mill, and the other one is for the 60-degree V-bit. And that program does not work. I just remembered I forgot to do something. I always work off of my lower left corner and set my 0 point right down there. So I have to fix that real quick. And here's how you do that. While you're in toolpath mode, you go to the set button right here. Select that. Change the location on your rectangle to the lower corner, if you're going to do it that way. When you click OK, it's going to tell you it has to recalculate. Just tell it yes, and it's going to recalculate everything. And then we have to go back in and save again. So I'm going to save, I'm going to save. And because the MOM is no good here, I am going to first click that and delete it. And I'm going to click the other one and delete it. And then we'll just say MOM. Now let's see what happens. I haven't done this before. And so I just renamed it MOM. Let's see how it turns out. Documents, come down, and there should be two MOM programs. Let's see, it would be under MOM. There it is. So I have MOM 18EM and MOM 60D. So you plug the first program in, run it, and then you plug the second program in and run it. If this was helpful, give me a thumbs up. If you are new to CNC routers, and subscribe. I teach all kinds of stuff, the programming and the routers. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next time.